Okay, kids, this is marijuana. It's made of glass and you eat it. Suckers. No, the glass part is a pipe, children. And in this part of the pipe, which we call the bowl, is where the marijuana is. This part of the pipe is called a carb, I think short for carburetor. I think because it regulates air intake, which must be the same function that a carburetor performs in a car, I'm guessing. And you put the marijuana in here in the bowl, and then you put fire on it, but you also have to inhale the flame and the heat into the marijuana to make it burn, and the smoke to come down into the bowl and out through into your oral cavity and down hence into your lungs, like so. Now you see this bowl is what we call in the parlance a cashed bowl. There's very little weed in there, so I probably have to pull harder to get it. Wasn't really very worth it. Let's just start over. We'll put a new bowl in. How about that? I'll be right back. Okay, this is what's called packing a small personal size bowl. This amount of weed, see pinched between my finger, will go into there. I'm gonna knock it out a little bit better first. Knock the pipe out. Knock that ash out of the pipe. Okay. Now to make this most fluid and enjoyable, I'm gonna break the weed, the marijuana, which is kind of sticky, like, you know, plants are sticky sometimes, up into smaller pieces. That way it burns better, sort of like building a good fire with firewood pyramids or whatever if you're a Boy Scout. So now you can see there's green weed in the bowl before it was black. I will now smoke the weed. Now I'm holding the smoke inside my lungs. I'll let some of it out of my nose. Now let the rest out through my mouth. Wasn't that much more. Let's see if I can take a bigger hit just to show you a bit of a difference. So look, before anyone says anything, I look like I've done this a million times. Maybe I have, I don't know, I haven't counted. But I didn't start till I was 25 years old, and that is the God's honest truth. Smoked weed, I think one legitimate occasion prior to that, and did not like it at all, and so lost any and all interest in it. And did not smoke again until I was 25, 26. I did not like weed during that time. I had friends who smoked weed and I was always annoyed when they did. I had an antipathetic dislike of it as a substance that existed in the world. At 25, many things had changed. To tell a long story in a very short story, I ended up smoking weed for the first time since the prior time 4 years earlier. I ended up having a really fun time for 2 hours and then having a really emotional time for 2 hours. Really good emotion. A bunch of blocked up, built up stuff just came pouring out of me, but not like a chaotic hurricane, like a nice even flow that really needed to come out. It was a really good long sad cry and expression of feeling, and felt much better at the end. And it was a close friend was half of it. You need both of those things. Weed doesn't do anything by itself. When I was 29, when I was 30, after smoking weed for 5 years, on and off at different rates at different times, I went and lived in Japan for a year. There was no weed in Japan, no way to get weed, so I didn't smoke weed for a year. I had marijuana in my system once, THC, whatever you want to call it, the whole year. And I took one Marinol pill. It became available somewhere. Coincidentally, the night I met my Japanese love, Natsuko Hoshi, But also the point was, oh, all the problems I had back home I still have. The internal issues of wrestling, or the externalities that cause problems, they were all the same. Weed was not the source of the problem. And it was really nice to have that cleared up, because I didn't know beforehand. When you get involved with a substance, there's a lot of narrative surrounding the use of that substance. It's not just your own personal experience. It's this narrative, this social narrative that you become involved in. I didn't smoke weed till I was 25 years old. I didn't drink alcohol till I was 21. How many of you out there in America? I'm at the far end of the bell curve. Didn't drink till I was 21. Didn't smoke weed till I was 25. Took mushrooms a couple times when I was 21, 22, 23. Took ecstasy a couple times. Not a lot, a couple times. 27 when I started drinking coffee. 28 when I started smoking cigarettes. Late to everything. I had a good, long, healthy ass start. So kids, this is weed. I'm not saying smoke it. I'm not saying don't smoke it. I'm saying be open to things. I'm not saying try everything. I walked up close to, for example, crystal meth. Maybe for some people, but for me, that was as close as I'm ever gonna get. Got close enough to see what it would be and said, no, that's not for me. This is for me, for now. It's a plant. I'd rather inhale the smoke from a burning plant than the smoke from an automobile. Or whatever goes through an air conditioner in a factory all day. I don't think it's unhealthy, is what I'm saying. It's all part of God's world. I think it's healthy, is what I'm saying. Excuse me. The narrative traps you in its web. It's what you need to know, children. These decisions are yours to make and not other people. If you don't make them, that's irresponsible, childish, and selfish of you, because you know yourself better than anyone else does. You need to be the one making decisions for yourself. If you let other people do it, you're gonna be a shithead, and you know it. And then we have to deal with you. Alright, kids. That's your lesson for the day. Uncle Jeremy's Drug Stories, Session 1, concluded. Rocket ship missile.